is the brainchild of the northern political elites. Some people tend not to agree with that position. But today we have been vindicated. Look at the position expressed by Sheikh Gumi, an Islamic cleric, that the Boko Haram, the terrorists, the bandits are their children. They don't want Trump, American government, American military invasion to stir the tide of insecurity. They are now admitting openly that these are their children. Do you get what is playing out? When we told you that Boko Haram is the northern Islamic agenda, they are the foot soldiers, the terrorists ravaging communities. The Islamic expansionist agenda is what is under play. Behind the scenes are the hands of these Islamic clerics, some politicians from the north, moving whatever is going on and pretending outrightly to be part of what is going on. But the conspiracy of silence, of course, has raised several concerns and questions to begin to probe into such level of silence, of conspiracy. You hardly could see them coming out to condemn such dastard acts. Today, see how they are organizing protests, insisting that Trump should not come, should not invade, should not go after the assailants, the criminals, the terrorists. They admitted openly that these people are their children, which means anybody, the sabotage of the security architecture within Nigeria, there are certain vested elements, interests within the corridor of power, controlling whatever is happening. And they pretend as if nothing is happening. But underground, there is a systematic annihilation of Christian communities and population by the same people they claim to be their children, their sons, and the rest of them. If they are sons and your daughters or whatever you claim they are, and you fail to checkmate their excesses, how could you checkmate their excesses when it is being largely confirmed that even those within the corridor of power are sponsoring them, providing logistics? And when Donald Trump said enough is enough, when the people, the Christian communities who have become victims of this targeted genocide and ethnic cleansing going on, here they come raising alarm. We don't want America to come. America is trying to invade the sovereign state, trying to put Tinubu presidency in the line. Why? They are the same people frustrating the administration of Tinubu through this escalation of insurgency, killings here and there, invading of communities, and the rest of them. Well, I wouldn't exonerate Tinubu because he took an oath of office to protect the life and properties of Nigerians. So if he's living below that, if not living up to responsibility or to her responsibilities, up to his responsibility to the state, to the government, to the people of Nigeria, though he should be blamed. Tinubu should be held responsible. Regardless whether there are state actors, there are key players, there are people within the corridor of power manipulating, sabotaging the cause of security and the rest of them, but he should be held responsible. Look at what they are saying. Setting up, burning U.S. flag. You know what that means? A total rejection of U.S. and whatever they represent. That is an extension of the hate and dislike for the Christian nations who are upholding human dignity and the rule of law. They say, we don't want, we are comfortable with what is going on. Forget about certain cry of pretense being raised by certain concerns. Have you seen why even Sheikh Gumi was vehemently insisting, defending the terrorists, the Boko Haram, the one they call the bandit Islamic militia groups or military groups, militants, defending them at all costs, insisting that the federal government of Nigeria should not go after them. In fact, at a particular time, one of the cleric men, Islamic clerics, said that anyone that is bombing Boko Haram will not get their votes. The sympathy vote will not go to them. Possibly, this could have informed the reason why Tinubu is intensifying the lobbying, the peace deal, the engaging the terrorists and the rest of them to pacify them and to make sure possibly the could be there at his beck and call, or make sure that his second election bid could get through, to the point of compromising the security and the territorial integrity or sovereignty of the Nigerian state. These people have invaded the Nigerian sovereignty, Nigerian space, and they are unleashing mayhem, and yet the government was placid about, of course, their sincerity and commitment towards securing the life and properties of Nigerians. You begin to ask, beyond, of course, the widest imagination, why a government will condescend too low to begin to negotiate with the terrorists, with the Boko Haram, those who have unleashed horror, mayhem, who have killed, mad, overrun several communities, indigenous communities, Nigerian citizens, lying in the pool of their own blood. Look at what happened in Benue State. When Tinubu visited, look at the response of the security chiefs or those in charge of the terrain. Has anyone been arrested? No. Imagine that over 200 people were slaughtered, killed in Nigeria, and the assailant, the killers, went scot-free. The killers went back successfully to their safe havens. There was no military roadblock or intelligence that could detect them for several days, if not weeks, before Tinubu eventually went there after much pressure from the external forces. The Pope and the rest of them condemned such act, and they commiserated with the victims' families and the rest of them. That prompted Tinubu to eventually contemplate of visiting that place at the first instance. Because there are several crime scenes where people, Nigerian citizens, were slaughtered, just like Plateau and the rest of them. He never even minds going there. Do you understand what exactly is playing out? When Gumi could no longer hide under covers because he knew already that everything will be busted. As a matter of fact, he's not coming out to accept, yeah, these are our people, these are our children, don't kill them. They are our children. Admitting responsibility and knowledge of whatever may have been going on. If they're your children, were they trained to constitute nuisance or create unrest, have destabilized the economy, the state, or the security, and ravage communities, reoccupy them, then it means you have a defined agenda or common ideology which you express and share commonly with them. Where is that aspect of Islam? Islam is a religion of peace. It's a religion of peace. I think the likes of Sheikh Gumi now is very clear that they are now open to more conversations and dialogue. Possibly should be someone to give more details of what you know about the operations, the antecedents, and the expansionist agenda of Islamization and the rest of them. If you say that people who committed terror, who killed, should not be judged, should not be held responsible, no wonder what is happening in Nigeria, that they kill and get away with that with such present impunity, and there's the government, the security operatives, not to do anything otherwise, they will, of course, burn down Nigeria and their facilities. Look at what is happening. You should not touch them. Don't go there wherever they are. They are our children. And those they are killing are not children of people, are not children of Nigerian indigenous communities. Those people deserve to die, deserve such level of cruelty, horrifying deaths. Why your children could kill at will? No wonder a sitting governor of Bauchi State, Bola Mohammed, said that Fulanis are, of course, universal citizens. They can carry gun anyhow. They are doing that to defend themselves. I mean, as nomadic, of course, uh, elements, and they should, of course, protect themselves. They can invade any country, any community, any land, even without express permission from the communities, and settle there. In fact, they are doing you a favor if they decide to live in the forest instead of coming to rent a house, and eventually these are the excuses. You can imagine how intelligently stupid that might sound. By my own opinion, you can understand how insensible that could make. But these are people defending with all tenacity, with all the strength and resources at their disposal. And they weren't ashamed or are contemplating on the consequences of their actions, because people listening to this and possibly could clearly understand what they represent, who they are, and what they stand for. It doesn't matter the pretense and whatever camouflage going on and the rest of them. We purely know that they are the part and parcel of the problem and the state of insecurity in Nigeria today, growing, ever increasing. It is state of crisis, rocking the state, rocking the entire regions of this country, which nobody could be considered safe. As it stands now, the senators are crying, we better shut down this National Assembly because it is serving no purpose. Why Nigerians are being killed, there's insecurity here and there. People could no longer go about their businesses without fear of being killed, apprehended, destroyed, and the rest of them. People are now living at the mercy of terrorism. Terrorism has been enthroned within the Nigerian state. Look at what is happening with such level of impunity. It means clearly there is a conspiracy to annihilate the Christian populations and community. If the northern clerics, the northern people are now saying that don't come after them. Trump will reject you, shouting Allahu Akbar. I mean, this has gotten to the point that justice must be served, because these people are clearly now admitting and confirming their involvement and taking responsibilities of whatever may have been going on in Nigeria for decades, unabetting. The reason why we begin to ask, why is it that the government have not expressed political interest or will to address this state of insecurity? What exactly is going on? Who is behind the scene controlling exactly whatever is happening? That nobody, no terrorist should be tried in Nigeria. You can imagine that was the law that Buhari gave, that no terrorists or alleged terrorism person should be tried in Nigeria. But Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is standing trial on terrorism, even with death and repeal the law. They want to crucify him. They want to indict him. They want to force him the conviction on him, even when the court of law have discharged and acquitted, of course, dismiss all the count charges levied against him. So they wanted to use him as a scapegoat because he is standing on their path to exclusive dominance and conquest. I begin to ask, is this the same country where there is a repealed law that no terrorism should be tried within the Nigerian space, and it's crime that was not even committed allegedly within Nigeria? If there's any crime in the first instance, it is quite unfortunate what is happening today. Now the world are now convinced of whatever is going in Nigeria was not just a mere accident, not just a mere coincidence, but there is an undertone, both political, economic, and religious undertone being sponsored. There is a well robust system and support for the criminality, insurgency, terrorism that is going on. No wonder it is thriving and expanding. And this we could no longer deny with this outburst and archive coming from the north. You now get it very clear, the handwriting of the war. And hope the American intelligence and secret uh, agents will understand whatever is playing out now. That indeed there was a conspiracy against certain, of course, individuals or communities or sect of people, predominantly Christian communities and other ethnic nationalities who unfortunately are target of this uh, ethnic cleansing. Of course, Benue State governor has more to say over the latest inquiry he set up that indicted several senators serving and passed. That is quite interesting. You now understand why these people are shouting, don't come, don't come. We don't need you, we don't need you. They are not talking because of the interest of Nigeria. They want the unity of Nigeria. If at all you want Nigeria to succeed, if you don't want Nigeria to be collapsed in the hands of terrorists, why are you standing in the way? I mean, these people who have destroyed virtually the North, and the same people will come claiming that the North are the most impoverished region. You cannot understand that these people are using this weapon, impoverishing their people as a tool, as a weapon of bargain and negotiation, using it as an instrument to project their agenda and, of course, get the government, any government they will not want, to ransom. Look at the Chibok Girls saga and the rest of them. We understood that these are well orchestrated and planned uh, agenda program to discredit and, of course, uh, Jonathan administration. All these things have been revealed. The reason why Jonathan said the same Boko Haram are part of his cabinet member. He wasn't mentioning West. And today he has been vindicated for standing tall, even when the versions was, of course, totally against him. There was a conspiracy, both international and local conspiracies, to get him ousted out of office. But today, those conspirators are reaping the same fruits they have sown. But sadly, millions of Nigerians has been killed in what should be considered avoidable and unprovocable crisis, sponsored, activated by certain vested interests. Some at the initial time believe that this is just ethnic, what you call the climate change and the rest of them. Begin to change, use certain nomenclatures to cover up such level of atrocity. Now it has come to the new light, and America is saying we have to treat this because this is a global threat. Wherever there is terrorism, it is a global threat and must be dealt with. These people are now seeing the commitment and sincerity of American people. These are the same people blaming Tinubu. Tinubu must fix insecurity. Tinubu must make sure there is an end of insecurity. You can't imagine the double standard, of course, life of these northern political elites and clerics, some clerics in the north. They are the one holding and dragging Tinubu government. You must fight insecurity under your watch. Insecurity has escalated. We can no longer go to farm. Our people are being adopted. We are paying ransom and the rest of them. Now the solution has provided itself. Do you see how they are turning back again, thinking we have forgotten their position in recent past? It is rather unfortunate. This informs the reason why the people, the eastern region, are calling for Biafra, that they could no longer continue with such level of deception with a people mixed and full of hate, deception, and lies. What kind of society could that be? Of course, that will continue to get stuck in the wheel of motionless and despair. This have vindicated the position of Mazen Namdekan, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, and every Biafran agitator who believe that the only way they can be secured and their posterity could be preserved and their own ancestral home not to be overrun is by the restoration of the Biafran sovereignty. Look at several communities, local governments have been taken over by this Boko Haram. And you begin to ask, why is the northern political elite and the Islamic cleric in the north, why can't they fix the problem? Of course, if the problem was not created by them, they would have fixed the problem. Now, how do you expect them to destroy what they are building for whatever interest or purpose that they expect to serve? Of course, we have seen very clearly what is playing out. You cannot tell me that the entire northern people cannot fix the security. If this insecurity were not to serve their interests, they would have stopped this at the very, of course, initial stage. But when it appears they are getting from that, look at the expense, how many billions of dollars being expended for several, about more than a decade now. That will shock you. If such is translated into economic development with accountability and transparency, you will see how far that would have improved the livelihood of Nigerians. Today, the North are crying. There is insecurity, security, there is poverty and the poverty, but they created it. They are the architect of that problem. They knew that, but living in denial. Any status opportunity, we want to blame the South. Look at what Shetima said, the vice president, that we all are responsible for the creation of Boko Haram. Sir, with due respect, how are we responsible? How is Chigos Ndibo responsible for the creation of Boko Haram, which on several occasions he has been alleged to be involved in the creation of Boko Haram? These are issues of concern, and we as people will no longer continue to live in denial. We have seen clearly where the, of course, the ball lies, and of course, it is left for us to know what to do. It is clearly unmistaken the position of the North about whatever is happening. And it doesn't matter how many churches are burned down. These are infidels that needed to be dealt with. Look at Deborah Yakubu, how she was stoned to death. And the northern people are telling us that the DSS were overrun, overpowered, the security operatives were overpowered, while in that video we never saw anything. We saw a group of mob unleashing, of course, lynching a lady, a beautiful lady for that matter, from northern instruction on the basis that she professes Christianity as a faith. This and many other reasons. Is it Leah Shaibu that was, unfortunately, only God knows what happened to her? There are several instances, people praying or preaching in the North, Abuja, and was sought, and eventually there are many instances that are vindicate, of course, and suggest beyond reasonable doubt that Nigeria is in problem. Of course, the senator, one of the senators at the plenary, has confirmed that the security architecture of Nigeria has collapsed, and they needed foreign intervention because that is the only thing that could save the remnants of Nigeria. Let's have your own take regarding this update. And of course, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more political updates here in Callwave TV.